Take a sip. All right, this is the one. Greetings and welcome to the Acre Weekly Recap. I am your host and community manager, Nico186, and I'm really excited to welcome you to our weekly recap. This podcast will essentially get everyone caught up on all the news and events that have taken place during the week. I'm specifically going to talk about our Discord community, which is our central hub, our communications hub, our Twitter account, and our other social media accounts, including Telegram and LinkedIn, and of course, any other news and events that are happening outside of our own social media and in the blockchain space. So this is week 17, and this week started on Sunday. So we had a couple of national and international holidays. People recognized Easter and celebrated that on Sunday. And of course, a cultural holiday, 420, happened to fall on the same day. And wow, what an eventful week for Bitcoin in general. The United States and international traditional finance markets were ablaze this week with a lot of news and events happening. And of course, that in turn not only affected Bitcoin, but also had, some incredible action happening on the market and price charts as well. So, um, we particularly were excited to launch a 2 week special event that's happening inside of the Discord community. So every week you can find us in Discord. And of course, you can easily connect with us at Acre.fi. That is our official website. And if you scroll to the bottom of the official website, you'll find links that we've provided. But if you prefer to go direct, you can connect with us at discord.gg/acre. And on Twitter, we're at symbol capital ACRE, capital BTC. And of course, on LinkedIn, you can just go to linkedin.com. We're at /acre BTC. Um, Love to have you connect, give us a follow, and I strongly recommend joining our Discord community. I manage the Discord hub. You'll find me, and we have an incredible team of moderators that are in there 24 hours a day, and you can just converse with us about anything. If you're brand new to the space, just getting started, I recommend our Discord because it's a safe environment. You'll need to go through a verification and that will land you in what we call the general discussion thread. You can ask us anything. Of course, we can talk to you about how to custody your Bitcoin. We recommend utilizing one of the wallets that Acre has a relationship with. We have integrated Unisat, Xverse, and OKX wallets. Questions about connecting to the Acre platform at Acre.fi, utilizing our decentralized application, or of course, anything at all. We'd love to have you join. Yeah, so definitely recommend that. And of course, as I kick off our podcast, I always want to recommend to please make suggestions. I'd love it if you gave our YouTube channel a follow below. And if you want to make any suggestions for me directly, throw some comments out there. Let me know if you'd like to see topics specifically on the Acre Discord call. If you have questions that maybe were not particularly answered on one of the community calls, or of course, if you have future suggestions and improvements that we can make, not only to the Acre product and the Acre platform, but to any aspect of the Acre community. We're very much a community first driven project. Our mission statement is very simple. My own personal mission statement is to onboard new people into the blockchain space. I think Bitcoin is amazing. I'm fascinated by Bitcoin technology, and I'm fascinated by democratizing wealth and kind of getting rid of the gatekeepers. And I think not only does Bitcoin allow this, but particularly the Acre user interface really allows that as well. anybody with an internet connection is welcome and encouraged to deposit into the Acre platform today. We have no lockup period. We certainly don't have any of the gatekeeping that you might find in traditional finance. And of course, I'm just a huge fan of being in control of my funds. Of course, setting up your very own wallet, being in control of your seed phrase allows you to have self custody of your Bitcoin while enjoying the benefits of Bitcoin compounding. And of course, we'll talk about that here on the podcast. We'll talk about that on the Discord show. We're happy to talk about that anytime. So great. Now that I've got the basics out of the way, the housekeeping stuff, boy, let's dig right into the week that we've had. The Discord community call was so big this week, I had to split it up into two episodes. So we're actually talking about the Bitcoin white paper itself. So Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. This was written by Satoshi Nakamoto on October 31st, 2008. So this is the actual white paper that discusses Bitcoin itself, and this was the very first time that Bitcoin was presented to the world. A lot of people that I mentioned the white paper to, they kind of brush it off, right? They say, "Oh yeah, I'm aware of it. I know all about it. I know exactly what it is." And then I ask them a couple more probing questions, and they start to scratch their head and say, "Well, wait a minute. Maybe I don't know what it is. Maybe I have the wrong idea about the white paper itself." Um, I was absolutely refreshed. I do have a background, I have a university background and I have a research degree. So, I'm no stranger to reading white papers and academic documents. Specifically, I have a background in architecture. There's some pretty complicated and technical documents that are out there. Um, I was expecting this to be about 50 pages, super technical, a lot of jargon, a lot of language that I don't even understand, words that I'm going to have to look up. And at the end of the day, I thought I'm not going to enjoy any of this. I was totally wrong. Boy, was I wrong. This paper is amazing. It's 9 pages in length. It's totally approachable, and it's incredibly well written. It's written in a very concise English language. It's a technical paper. It's discussing an electronic peer-to-peer cash system, of course. And the dude was smart. I'm not going to lie. The theory that's in here is groundbreaking. Okay. But beyond that, the paper is for all of us. The paper is basically to take what was occurring in Satoshi's mind, put it down onto paper, and just, disseminate it out into the world. So I think he did a really good job on that. I personally was, like I said, I was really refreshed, and my excitement and joy, I hope I can pass that on to everybody else. I'm going to provide a link right here at the bottom. I'm going to give you guys a link to the Bitcoin organization. You can download this for free right now. I downloaded it and printed it out. Um, what I did with the show, I actually wanted to split the paper. So we'll get into a couple of highlights from the show here next. But just to kind of give a quick overview, within the call itself, I wanted to talk about the fact that Satoshi Nakamoto, for example, is anonymous. He invented Bitcoin and he set up, the very first minting and sharing of Bitcoin. You'd imagine that he would be, quite a public figure right now, but he's not. He prefers to be anonymous, and he kind of disappeared right after Bitcoin was launched, right? And some other interesting facts that we kind of talked about were, um, basically just what is the major concept that makes Bitcoin happen, right? And so we wanted to kind of give just a real introduction to proof of work. Proof of work is the major theory that is behind Bitcoin. So um, we'll get into the clip right now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And of course, we're going to have an amazing topic today that really dives deep into that. But yeah, I'd just like to lead off with that. And before we get too far, let's take a minute to walk around and pass the mic. I'm going to hand it off to you, Patea, for a quick hi, hello, and I'll let you pass it off to the next person.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Just just hanging out and want to learn more about Satoshi. As people saw in the chat, I just read the white paper for the first time last night. I am pleased to say it only took me about 20 minutes.
Hand that over to Fox.
Yeah,
Make
you
sure you
forgot
got
to
your
pass
mic
the
working.
mic, man.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, good to see everybody here, and excited to talk about what Satoshi built. Liz, welcome.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
Rod, say
Hello,
hi.
hello. How's everyone? So, my name is Rod. I'm your friendly Bitcoin maxi. I don't bite. And yeah, happy to be here.
And of course, Um, I want to add a little flavor to this call. So I'm going to go ahead and welcome you guys to the podcast studio here. Yeah, look at this.
Nico, I have a mustache for you today.
What? Rod, man, that's amazing,
It's
dude.
temporary. Yeah,
No,
it was
go
just for
ahead.
this call.
Yeah, Ryan, nice. Excellent to see you, sir. Welcome. Welcome on
Yeah, good,
stage.
good.
Yeah, amazing.
Thanks very much. Yeah.
The heck is Satoshi, right? So the reason that we're here today is we're talking about what is known as a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. It's in its 15 years old and it was written by a gentleman named Satoshi Nakamoto. Why I played Who Are You, right? Who are you, Satoshi Nakamoto? This is a person that invented arguably um, one of the most revolutionary digital currencies. Yeah, is he Canadian? Is he
Right.
Canadian? So we really don't know who he is, right? I mean, why is that?
He's
How
Puerto Rican. Let's be
he's Puerto
honest.
Rican.
We
All
are
right.
we are all Satoshi, aren't we? Right. I've been the dial back to 2008. And it was Halloween, 31 October, and then this mysterious paper was published. Here are all the transactions that I saw, money moving around. And if you agree with me, you guys write it down and then get to work on the next puzzle.
Okay. Now let me hit the pause button, right? Okay. I want to simplify this. We have some amazing people in our audience, and I don't want to get too complicated too quick because this
I
is this
hope
is
not.
something for everyone. This is something for everyone. Tell me why Bitcoin? What's better about it? I mean, just in that little discussion that you had.
Rod, jump in here. Welcome back. I see you're situated. Jump up.
God, what a stash, man. I mean, that is just a really good look, sir.
I have a totally different perspective on why Bitcoin. Like being raised in Brazil, as you know, like I guess more Latin American folks can say the same. We it was absolutely normal going to the supermarket, and after a while, everything is more expensive than the previous week or month. I
Wow.
took it for granted. I thought that was normal. Right? Now everyone here in this room should be learning about inflation because we have the global money printing all over the place.
What an
After
There we
amazing
go.
scenario, though. I mean, just a simple story. Hey, babe, go to the store, grab me 4 items. But in Ron's case, you got to hurry up and get down to the store. Those 4 items might cost more than the $20 that you got. Wow. I mean, that adds a whole richness to it. And
do you
in
have a
general,
grocery shop? Like if you're
well,
not Duck, because Duck lives far. But
yeah.
if you are in I mean, I live in a small city, but the groceries is just around the corner. I don't do like monthly groceries. I go every week and I buy like small stuff.
Now, I hate to, the underbelly of society, of course, is criminal bad behavior, right? And you have good
Absolutely.
behavior. We're going to act in a good way and we're going to make money. We're going to get up every morning and, we're going to go to work. But then you have criminal minds where they're like, hey, I'm going to spend the same amount of energy and I'm going to get a bigger reward and a bigger risk out of it.
Yeah, you can't do anything wrong. Everybody else will ignore you if you attempt to do something wrong. That's what's
That's
nice
great.
about this, and it's very efficient to validate if somebody is doing something truthfully or if somebody is doing something malicious. And you simply just ignore anything that's malicious, and you only pay attention to the things that are valid. We
Ooh,
got a little visual for us. What do
that's
you got
This
for
is
us?
it. This is what
This
we're
is
talking about. We're live streaming the blocks or the transactions being organized.
wow.
yeah.
Beautiful, right?
So we see the weight of the transaction by the size of the block there,
Exactly.
and then you'll some of them will actually be color coded by how much tip they're putting in there, I believe, right? So that
Yes, yes.
the larger the tip that they're providing, even if the transaction is the same computational weight, uh, they should prioritize ones that have more tip associated with them.
Now I
Eventually,
didn't
your
know.
transaction will get in there. Yes.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
just
Eventually, your valid transaction will be picked up and broadcast to the entire network. Yeah. And the nice thing is, if somebody encounters a invalid transaction, they just discard it and they don't tell anybody else about it. So we don't get a whole lot of misinformation moving across the network either. We only forward information that we know to be true.
I'm excited for the music. See ya. Ciao.
all right. Now, don't forget to join us every week in Discord. We're on every Tuesday at 2 p.m. East. You can lurk if you want to. A lot of our fans will set it on their cell phone and go right back to work and have their iPods in, kind of hide your iPod. You don't have to talk, you don't have to comment. You can also participate in the chat. If you want to be a little bit less anonymous, we have a chat that scrolls down the side. I love it. Questions, comments, encouraging statements. Um, Mess with me. Have some fun. It's an hour program where we, the community, really get together. But if that's not enough, I actually reward the community for your time in spending time with us on the call. So you'll actually find during the call, I'll do a special, we have a engagement point system. We'll give out points during the call. If we have some fun things happening, we'll throw around some tips, and every now and then we'll have a surprise game. We have a huge international following. I've got a huge shout out to our community moderators, Dolores, Master Noda, Joe, Jan. We have an international community, and our moderators actually speak these languages natively. So part of the posts and contributions that I find really nice are when we have things translated into local languages to help spread the message. Now, that leads into my next topic this week. Wow, Twitter is kind of on fire right now. We have an amazing campaign that's been launched. It started during the community call. The tweet went out a little bit after the call, and it's going to wrap up this Sunday night. So, today's April 25th. You basically have a couple more days if you're checking out this podcast. Hop on over to Twitter, take a look at it. What is it? Well, it's a 500 USDC, so $500 contest where you, the community, will be writing about your biggest losses in Bitcoin. There's an old saying, misery loves company, and a lot of times everybody loves to kind of go out into the public eye and just say, hey, I'm the smartest person in the room at any given time. I'm always on point. I never make mistakes. And there's a little reality in the world, let's be honest. There's a learning curve. We've all got to grow. We've all got to improve ourselves over time. So that's what this contest is really all about. We started off with our very own co-founder Laura, and CEO. She tells a personal story of one of her Bitcoin losses, and wow, definitely worth a read. I myself have added a couple of posts to the thread. So um, mentioning Laura, speaking of Laura. co-founder and CEO here at Acre. She was invited on Crypto Mavericks this week. See her in real life at events. The podcasts that she participates in are just incredible. So we're a huge fan of Crypto Mavericks. I love their weekly cast. This particular one, we're talking about reshaping the landscape of capital formation. And we particularly have a mission statement to empower communities, right? We want to utilize blockchain technology just to kind of break down barriers of entry, right? Prevent gatekeeping into the space. But at a deeper level, we talked about the evolving role of Bitcoin and a decentralized future. So I'm going to share a link to this below, and I'll let you take a look at that as well. But strongly encourage you to take a listen to the podcast. And I'm going to throw a couple of clips in here as well, a couple highlights.
Super happy to have you on the podcast today. And you're doing some big stuff here at Acre. We were talking about it a little bit before we started recording. But before we dive into all of that, we'd love to know a little bit about your background and how you got into the crazy world of Web3 and how you put it earlier, you're orange pilled.
I'm so orange pilled. So my background is in startups. I started my first company at 25 years old. It was an ed tech company. In I was in Boston, Massachusetts at the time, and thought, all right, I'm gonna build an education technology, company. Went through an accelerator program in Providence, Rhode Island called Beta Spring. And I think they're called Rev Up now, but that's where I met a good friend of mine, Matt Luongo, and he was building an ed tech company at the time as well. And we were the two ed tech companies going through our class of Beta Spring. And, got to chatting about like the world and what we're building and how we're building this stuff. And we knew that we wanted to kind of work together one day, and we weren't sure exactly how we were going to. And that was back in, 2012. 2013, early baby days, and then unfold early days.
I love everyone's stories that come on here. It's always one of my first questions, like, how'd you get into Web3? How'd you learn about crypto? Because they're all, usually everyone got in, in crypto world a long time ago, but in real life terms, it was just like less than 10 years ago for a lot of people.
Yep, less than 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's amazing, but it's always like that first person or that first moment when you realize what Bitcoin actually was, and you're like, wait a minute, I've been hearing about this. This could actually be a pretty good investment. And right before we jumped on the podcast, we were kind of laughing about just the overall like market conditions. Like we got some ups and downs, but we both looked at each other and we're like, we're sitting at like an 80,000 plus Bitcoin right now. Years ago,
out. It's great. This feels excellent. I remember when Bitcoin got over 1,000, and I was like, it's real. Like we're doing this. This is real, guys.
Like if you told me 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever it would have been, that we would be sitting at an $80,000 Bitcoin and we would have the United States trying to kind of get their foot in the door as being like the digital asset leader of the free world. Really amazing stuff, if you ask me.
I could not agree more. I think that this market's been a weird one. Not one that I would have expected to happen quite like this. I really thought we were gonna rip for a lot longer and go a lot higher, but we're kind of settling.
Again, I'm with you. It's kind of like if you told me 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever it would have been, that we would be sitting at an $80,000 Bitcoin and we would have the United States trying to kind of get their foot in the door as being like the digital asset leader of the free world. Really amazing stuff, if you ask me.
I could not agree more. I think that this market's been a weird one. Not one that I would have expected to happen quite like this. I really thought we were gonna rip for a lot longer and go a lot higher, but we're kind of settling a little bit, and but I think taking that long view, only up from here, you know?
We have ice in our veins as Bitcoin holders. We've been here, we've seen it happen a handful of times, and nothing really surprises us at the end of the day anymore.
A ton. So there's a ton of innovation happening on the side of how do we put this Bitcoin to work in a lot of different ways. And what Acre is doing is making the bet that there is a lot of opportunity for Bitcoin to earn. And the best way to do it is through no centralized control on the back end. So we're not building a multi-sig back here where we have control of your assets, and we're not a centralized custodian. We're not an ETF, right? Everything is happening all on chain. And we've got a dispatcher that puts it into vaults, essentially, all on-chain vaults of these different opportunities where this Bitcoin liquidity is earning.
All right. Well, that was amazing. I'm such a big fan of Crypto Mavericks again. Thank you for all of that. A huge fan, and thank you to Rod and Ryan Fox for taking time to join us on our Discord community call. And just a shout out to the community in general. Thank you for all your incredible memes, amazing comments and questions and conversations that we're having in Discord, and of course all the really cool Twitter posts. So. Thank you for listening to the weekly recap. I'm really excited to welcome you all next week. I'll be posting another recap. Usually post these up on YouTube Thursdays and Fridays. I look forward to seeing you in the metaverse, and I hope you have an awesome weekend.